Skol, Vikings Nation. Are you ready for some explosive Minnesota Vikings news that could completely reshape the future of this franchise? Because what just came out of the 2026 NFL Combine has sent shockwaves through the Vikings community, and it all revolves around J.J. McCarthy. Buckle up, because this isn't just off-season chatter. This could define 2026. The Combine wrapped up in Indianapolis, and instead of clarity, we got a storm of quarterback whispers. Every hallway conversation, every sideline rumor, every insider hint pointed in one direction. The Minnesota Vikings are evaluating everything at quarterback. And yes, that includes taking a hard look at J.J. McCarthy. According to NBC Sports insider Matthew Berry, the buzz around the league suggests Minnesota is McCarthy first, but not McCarthy only. And that subtle difference? It changes everything for this offseason. Berry didn't sugarcoat it. He made it clear that while the Vikings plan to keep developing McCarthy, they are not fully sold on him as the uncontested starter in 2026. That's not speculation, that's league chatter coming straight out of Indy. In fact, Berry said if he had to bet on the Vikings' Week 1 starter in 2026, he'd take the field over McCarthy. Let that sink in for a second. The field. That means any other quarterback has better odds than our young QB1, at least in the eyes of some insiders. And Vikings fans, you know Berry isn't known for throwing random takes out there. If he's reporting this, there's smoke. And where there's smoke in the NFL, there's usually fire. Now let's rewind to 2025. McCarthy showed flashes. Athleticism, off-script creativity, toughness on the road. Like we saw against the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium when he scrambled to extend plays in a hostile environment. But consistency? That's where things got complicated. Berry revealed something that confirms what many fans suspected. By mid-season last year, the coaching staff reportedly had to scale back the playbook because McCarthy was struggling to fully grasp the offense. Think about that. Kevin O'Connell's system is timing-based, layered, and detail-heavy. If the playbook shrinks, the entire offense shrinks. And while some fans begged the Vikings to simplify things to help the rookie, others later criticized McCarthy for needing that adjustment. That tension is real. Development versus expectations. Patience versus pressure. And with a must-win 2026 season looming, the Minnesota Vikings don't have the luxury of waiting forever. Now here's where it gets even more dramatic. Berry also brought up something that had been floating around for months. Last year, Kevin O'Connell reportedly wanted Aaron Rodgers. Yes, that Aaron Rodgers. And Rodgers had interest in Minnesota. But the organization as a whole wasn't aligned, and Rodgers ultimately went elsewhere. Fast forward to now, with front office changes and Rob Brzezinski stepping in as interim GM, that conversation might not be completely dead. Still, let's stay grounded. There's no confirmed pursuit of Rodgers right now. But the fact his name keeps resurfacing tells you the Vikings are not operating with blind loyalty at quarterback. And loyalty is complicated when you're $45 million over the cap and your head coach likely needs a playoff appearance in 2026 for full job security. This is not a rebuilding situation. This is a pressure cooker. So what's the plan? According to Berry, the Vikings are casting a wide net. Not for a backup. Not for a clipboard holder. For real competition. Names like Malik Willis, Mac Jones, and Daniel Jones have been circulating in Vikings rumor circles. But here's the catch, acquiring one of them could cost enough that Minnesota would almost have to name them the starter. And that would effectively close the McCarthy chapter early. That's why the team may pivot toward a cheaper but proven veteran option. Someone who can push McCarthy without forcing the organization into a total reset. Then come the bigger swing possibilities. Kyler Murray, Geno Smith. Both have been mentioned as players the Vikings would have interest in if available. And yes, insiders say Minnesota likes Geno a lot. Imagine the athletic ceiling of Murray in O'Connell's system. Or the steady veteran leadership of Geno pushing McCarthy in camp. That's not fantasy football, that's real strategic consideration happening inside the building. One thing Berry firmly shut down? Derek Carr rumors. Despite outside speculation linking Carr to Minnesota, Berry said he did not hear Carr's name connected to the Vikings at all during Combine Week. So let's clear that up for Vikings Nation. As of now, Carr to Minnesota appears to be noise, not substance. And here's another interesting detail. Barry emphasized that despite some media chatter, the Vikings do not have interest in Tua Tagovailoa. That rumor? Consider it cooled. So where does this leave us? With a young quarterback who has started just 10 games, a franchise over the salary cap, a head coach with postseason pressure, and a fan base desperate to see the Minnesota Vikings take the next step. This isn't just about replacing McCarthy. It's about creating urgency, bringing in someone who walks into camp and makes it crystal clear. Nothing is guaranteed. Competition sharpens talent. And maybe that's the blueprint here. Not abandonment, but acceleration. Now I want to hear from you, Vikings Nation. Do you believe J.J. McCarthy deserves the unquestioned starting job in 2026? Or should the Minnesota Vikings bring in a veteran to truly push him? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Would you roll with McCarthy and invest in development? Or swing for someone like Kyler Murray or Geno Smith if the opportunity presents itself? This offseason is shaping up to be one of the most critical in recent Vikings history. Free agency begins in 6 days. Decisions are coming fast. And the future of the quarterback room hangs in the balance. If you're as fired up as I am about these Minnesota Vikings news updates, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with every Vikings fan you know. Skol Nation, the storm is building, and we're riding it together.